But can I get it animal style? What are you gonna do, a third term? What you might get if you fed the destruction of democracy into an AI meme generator? How does that work exactly?
In a phone call with NBC, Trump saying, quote, "There are methods which you could do it."
They claim to love the Constitution, but what happens when their favorite guy openly flirts with breaking it? Jon Stewart calls out the wild hypocrisy of Trump's third-term talk as he compares it to dangerous authoritarian playbooks. Stick around, this isn't just another Trump headline, it's a warning for democracy. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. What happens when someone claims to love the Constitution but treats it like a piece of scratch paper?
We're gonna check in with our good friend, democracy. Gonna give him the old turn your head and cough. How's democracy doing? He continues to live up to his vaunted apprentice catchphrase, "You're fired."
In some of his strongest comments yet, President Trump says he's considering his options to serve a third term in office, a breach of the Constitution's two-term limit.
That's the question Jon Stewart tackled head-on after Trump's bizarre comments about a possible third presidential term. According to the 22nd Amendment, no one can serve more than 2 terms as president. Pretty simple, right? But Trump, never one to let pesky rules get in the way of his ego, has floated the idea like it's just another business pitch. Stewart wasn't about to let that slide. He pointed out the glaring hypocrisy of so-called constitutional conservatives who have no problem screaming about protecting the Second Amendment, but suddenly get real comfortable bending other parts of the Constitution.
I'm sorry, considering the option? What are you trying to streamlining our beautiful democracy continues apace. And a couple of months into Trump's second of his, let's say, 4 to 7 terms, order off menu from the Constitution? Oh yeah, I see you got, what do you got, 2 terms here.
Second Amendment originalists, Stewart quipped, now discovering the joys of interpretive dance. Trump's vague musings about a third term might sound like a joke, but Stewart made it clear why they're anything but. He compared it to authoritarian leaders around the world who test the waters with small, outrageous statements to see how much pushback they'll get. Slowly but surely, it lulls the public into thinking the absurd isn't so absurd anymore.
But can I get it animal style? What are you gonna do, a third term? What you might get if you fed the destruction of democracy into an AI meme generator? How does that work exactly?
In a phone call with NBC, Trump saying, quote, "There are methods which you could do it."
Stewart framed this as Trump grooming his base, preparing them to accept ideas that were once unthinkable. It's the political equivalent of microwaving fish in the office break room, Stewart said. The smell is awful, but eventually you just get used to it. There's a reason the 22nd Amendment is so essential, and Stewart didn't shy away from highlighting the historical context. It was adopted after Franklin D. Roosevelt served 4 terms, during a time when the U.S. was grappling with the Great Depression and World War II. Lawmakers wanted to avoid any leader holding on to power for too long, no matter how popular they were. Stewart cleverly tied this to Trump's obsession with power, noting that the only reason he wants a third term is because he never really finished his first 2 too busy golfing.
Including possibly urging his vice president, J.D. Vance, to run and then cede power back to Trump.
So aside from the president saying, "I'm not leaving," is there any other image of the shambolic state of our democracy?
The president saying that's one method, but that there are others too.
Yes.
By ridiculing Trump with quick jabs and sharp observations, Stewart cut through the noise, making people laugh while hammering home the broader danger of normalizing such talk. And if you think Trump's recklessness stops at words, wait until you hear how he treats classified documents. What's riskier than Trump joking about staying in power beyond 2 terms? How about stashing classified documents in a resort he treats like his personal clubhouse? At Mar-a-Lago, federal investigators discovered hundreds of sensitive files, some so top secret they shouldn't even leave a secure government room.
There are other methods. I think you tried one a few years ago. Because in the third term, We think his popularity will go down to the 30s. There are other methods for staying in power beyond when you are legally allowed to be there.
But instead of handling them with the care you'd expect from someone who once had access to the nuclear codes, Trump reportedly treated these documents like props. And according to allegations, the former president went as far as showing off classified war plans to guests. Think about that. War plans casually waved around like drink coasters. Jon Stewart tore into this recklessness with his signature bite, mocking Trump by comparing the situation to a magician ruining his own act.
Historically, some of them involve catapults. Trump will watch that movie as the military seizes power. Like, what the f?
It's like pulling a rabbit out of a hat, Stewart jabbed, and then giving the rabbit classified military intel before it hops away. The absurdity of it all underscores not just Trump's disregard for security protocols, but the sheer audacity to treat matters of national defense like party tricks. Stewart didn't stop there. He pointed out the glaring double standard at play, referencing the case of David Petraeus, the former CIA director who faced harsh consequences for mishandling classified information. Petraeus, who shared notebooks with his biographer, was forced to resign and even plead guilty to a misdemeanor. Meanwhile, you've got Trump, who allegedly flashed war plans to random folks at his Florida estate. And yet, according to Stewart, the closest thing to punishment he's facing is a chance to headline the 2024 election.
Although maybe Trump has something more creative in mind with the Vance thing. Have you guys heard of the movie Face Off? I'm sure at which point Chuck Schumer will say, I will allow it.
This kind of disparity, Stewart suggests, doesn't just insult the rule of law, it tears it to shreds. The risks are no joke. Careless handling of classified documents can compromise operations, expose intelligence sources, and even put lives at risk. Trump's actions don't just reflect irresponsibility. As Stewart points out, they reveal a dangerous pattern of using power for personal gain. And if this is how Trump behaves, Stewart warns, what kind of precedent does it set for future leaders? This isn't just about Trump's tantrums or even the scandals piling up around him. Jon Stewart made it clear this is about what we, as a nation, are willing to tolerate. Every time the line moves, whether it's joking about overthrowing term limits or waving around classified documents, the damage isn't just to today's politics. It's to the foundations of democracy itself. The Constitution is just paper if we don't enforce it, Stewart reminded us, his words equal parts biting and sobering. If we shrug and laugh this off again, what's next? Well, that part is completely up to us.